We are working on a 2007 Honda Odyssey.
Fixity-Fix!
We're gonna move down to the bottom of the car to look at this nice new Jasper transmission, and we are flushing some fluid out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a flush using the built-in pump in the transmission. So not technically a flush, but it will pull all of the fluid out without having to do a drain and fill a few times. So this is going to tap into the cooler lines from the transmission, which are here and here. This is probably, since it's lower, the pickup line where the fluid goes that way, and then into, normally for the Honda, it'll go right into the factory radiator and then come out and back to the transmission. But when you get a Jasper transmission, they automatically add a new transmission cooler to the front. So we're going to tap into the factory lines here, and we're going to start up the car in, it'd probably work in park, and it's going to pump out 2 quarts at a time. We're not going to do more than 2 quarts at a time because that would stress the pump. Pump out 2 quarts and then add in 2 quarts from the top, and then do that until we've done a full cycle of 8 quarts, and that'll do pretty much a full fluid replacement. Take off the fill plug for the transmission. I'll show you where that is now. It's a 17mm bolt, and you'll need a long extension and a socket wrench. So we're behind the battery, between the air filter intake and the engine itself. We don't do beauty covers on engines here at Fixity-Fix. They just get in the way. It says ATF, American Tobacco and Firearms, there on top of the bolt. So dang. Come on, Jasper. Really?
They were probably not happy with how many times I called to see when my car would be done.
Yeah.
But it did take 3 weeks longer to do it.
I don't like that. Why would they have that in there so tight?
It'd be pretty silly if it was reverse threaded.
Yeah. I don't remember it being that way.
Well, you're probably not going to make it tighter.
Doesn't seem to be the case. This freshly remanufactured Jasper professionally installed transmission had the ATF fill bolt on it so tight that we had to go with a standard breaker bar. Got no love. And then we ended up going with the bejesus bar here, about 4 feet long. Finally broke it loose, made such a big snap that we thought we'd broken the bolt off. The bolt's fine. All right, here we are under the front driver's side, left-hand side of this Odyssey. We're gonna pop this hose off, and I'm assuming this is the feed hose, meaning the fluid's gonna go that way to the cooler from the transmission when the car is running. So we're gonna pop this off. Some fluid's gonna come out into this drain pan here. And then we're gonna figure out what size clear hose to hook up to run the fluid where we want it to go. I guess the people that installed your transmission have that double clamped.
Good on them.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
For $5,600.
Ready for a face full of transmission fluid? Making sure that's really transmission fluid. I mean, that is a transmission. All right, that's step one. All right, we've got a length of clear 3/8 inch inner diameter vinyl hose, and we're just hooking it. We're just pressing it on right where we took off the transmission cooler line hose. And it's just going to take a little bit of force to pop it on there. Just work it on. You can tighten a hose clamp on to that vinyl hose just to keep it from popping off or any from spilling. It feels tight enough that I probably get away with not putting a hose clamp on it. I don't want to have to do any rework here, so we'll try to do it right. There's also, you could probably hook up another connector like this 3/8 hose barb to the other line, the rubber line that we took off that leads to the transmission cooler, and run that into a fresh bottle of transmission fluid and have the pump do all the work. I'd rather be a little more controlling of how much comes out and how much goes in. So we're going to do this sort of, this is doing the shortcut the long way, but it's much more precise.
In typical David Bike fashion.
Turn a 1 hour job into a day. So I just put in the hose barb into the part going to the transmission cooler in the front of the car. Now I do suspect this hose here coming at the bottom of the transmission is going to be the one that fluid's going to come from when we start the car up. But just in case I'm wrong, I just have this in here. Probably we're going to see this longer tube fill with old fluid, and then this was superfluous, but we're about to find that out. Our theory is when Max starts up the car and park, the transmission pump is going to push fluid out of one of these tubes, most likely the longer one that's connected to the transmission itself. We're only going to let 2 quarts come out at a time because anything more is likely to stress the transmission pump. We'll take out 2 quarts of the old stuff, we'll put in 2 quarts of the new stuff. So we're going to experiment with that right now. All right, start it up. All right, it's good. Keep it going. Kill it. Perfect. All right, that is 2 quarts out that fast.
Wow, that's fast.
We'll put 2 more quarts in, and we'll just do that a few times. The fluid's still good and red, so the fluid in it is good. You got, what, 10,000 miles?
8 or 10. I think maybe 10.
Okay, on this rebuilt Jasper transmission.
Yeah. Remanufactured.
Remanufactured, there you go. So we're going to put in exactly 2 quarts. You've noticed that I've marked our cat litter container with quart numbers on here. And just from experience of doing this fluid swap in so many different cars, 2 quarts is kind of the magic amount. So we're going to put 2 quarts in now. So if you can weasel your way out of that car, you can help me with this, or I'll just do it and you can stay right where you are. Oh, 10 out of 10. You stuck the landing.
Oh yeah, all the gymnastics.
I know you're wondering, and this is going to be controversial, and go ahead and flame us in the comments if you disagree. We're using Valvoline Max Life, which is now rated for the different types of Honda transmission fluids. I use it in all of our cars that are automatic because it works and is rated now for the Mazda, the Toyota, this Honda. So that's what we're using. You can certainly feel free to buy the Honda brand stuff. That's fine if that floats your boat. I use this Motive Products Power Fill for filling transmissions and most things. It's a little spendy, but man, it saves time and it makes it so much easier. You can fill it up with the air compressor, or you can use this hand pump right here. Max, what did you say it looks like?
Looks like a pesticide dispenser.
There you go. I guess if you drank this stuff, it would probably dispense with, yeah.
Yeah, probably not good for grass either.
It's almost not worth walking over to the compressor. We're getting pretty good pressure already. One complaint I have about this guy is it doesn't come marked very well. So I've done these marks so I know that I've got 5 quarts in. We're going to go down to 3, and that'll be 2 in the car. So that's how we're going to know. So we need to pop off the fill plug. That's good.
I just started the recording, trying to stop the recording.
Oh, did you? All right, Max, go ahead and start it up. Stop. All right, Max, 2 quarts going in. And we started here. So we'll go down to the 4 on this side. Just go nice and slow so it doesn't overfill on the transmission itself. All right, 3rd round of draining 2 quarts out via the transmission pump. I am dumping out this container each time just because I want to make double sure that I'm only doing 2 quarts, and it's just easier to read and easier for the video. Container flat on the ground. Start it, Max. Stop. Perfecto. There we go.
That's
now
3.
That's
2.5.
Yeah, that's 3. So we're marking it on the wall each time. We're going to do 4 cycles to get a total of 8 quarts. Just so we don't forget, and we keep like getting interrupted today. All right, 2 more quarts coming in. All right, that's good. All right, so this last time, I'm just gonna let it come up a little bit above the 4 to get 2 more quarts out. Instead of just dumping this out, I don't feel like doing that step over again because I think you've got the hang of this now. We're gonna go a little above 4 because we're starting a little above the 3 here. Or the 2, I guess, technically. So 2 quarts coming out. All right, Max, hit it. Now we're going to put back in the almost 2 quarts that came out, and we're going to call that good. Two quarts. Going back a little less than 2 quarts given what had come out. We're going to go to right about that curly Q on the 2. After this, we'll use the factory procedure for checking the amount of fluid that's in it using the dipstick after the car is warmed up. And then top it off as needed. Or pull out some fluid if it's a little high. It shouldn't be. We're erring on the side of just a little bit low here for that specific purpose. We have the obligatory transmission fluid spillage here, and this Max Life, Valvoline Max Life stuff smells like cat urine when it gets hot, so it's a good idea to clean up anything that spills. So I'm just going to get in here. I'm going to get in here and just clean up all the red fluid that I can see and feel. Then we're going to tighten back up the fill plug. So we make sure the washer's on here. We kept up with that. And then we're gonna put in this fill plug, screw it in hand tight, and then we'll snug it up with the 17 millimeter. This was way over tightened when we got it, so we're just gonna snug it up just enough. You can look up the torque if you want to. So we're popping out this superfluous line. In fact, it drained the way we thought it, or it flowed the way we thought it would. So this can just hang. It's not really a problem. This clear vinyl hose that was the drain hose needs to come off. And a little bit of spillage. We'll try to direct all that in here. Screw it enough to go over the hose. I'm resting my head right now on the side of a full transmission fluid bin. This could go horribly wrong.
Lean on it too much and have it flip on you.
Yes, that'd be funny.
Do it for the views.
My hearing aid's gonna fall in it. $3,000 later. You don't really need.
And next week's video is rewiring my hearing aid.
Fixity-Fix what? There we go. I'm gonna use 2 hose clips on here just because they're there. One's the factory one, and then one is these twisty ones. Funny how just a few degrees will make a difference, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Always nice to see my catalytic converter still there. Hasn't been stolen yet.
Welcome to 2023. All right, that's a wrap. Let's look around this with a light and make sure that I didn't miss anything, or let's see what I missed. We've got a few things to wipe up. That's good. The hose is in all right condition. We're gonna wipe down all this spilled fluid, just make it easier to see if there's anything leaking when you start it up. When you start it up, it's gonna be important to start it and then just run it from park to neutral to drive to reverse a few times. And it might make some noises or complain a little bit until it gets fluid all the places it needs to get it. Now we fire it up and check for leaks underneath. Hit it. Looking good so far. Go ahead and run through the gears. We did a final measure of the fluid that came out of the car, and of course we were carefully tracking what went into the car. About 9 quarts had come out and only 8 quarts had gone in. So we added just under an extra quart, and now we're gonna test drive. So adding that extra quart meant our fill plug had to come out, and now it's going back in for the test drive. We'll snug it up, being careful not to touch the battery with our metal tools. They're embarrassingly close. That's ready for a test drive. After driving around for about 15 minutes, everything did fine. Now we're going to do a check on the transmission fluid. There is some controversy about the proper way to do it in these Hondas. So drive around until the car is just about the middle for the temperature gauge. And then, here's the controversy, turn the thing off. Most automatic transmissions, you leave the car running in park to check it, but in this vintage Honda, you turn it off while it's warm.
It is not. It's 15 years old.
So are you. Pull the dipstick.
Use these parking receipts to clean it off from 2016.
Recycling.
Right up to that bottom line.
All right, good. That's good enough. because we haven't driven it around all that long, we can probably add maybe 1/4 of a quart or something just for good measure, and then we'll call it good, just to get it in between those two lines.